One. All right, y'all, creatives, welcome to For the Artists, a podcast brought to you by Creative and Projects. I'm your host, Melissa Sharee, with guest artist Eric Seats, Grammy Award-winning producer. Friend, you know I gotta give it all, okay, my friend. That's the most important one right there.
Right.
What else was that? A father. I added last week a man of many talents. And there was something I was gonna add this week too. Oh, hello. Also member of the board. Boom. How about that?
Very important.
Say hi to the people, Seat. Say hi to the people.
Hey, everybody. I hope all is well and that you're blessed and that you're ready for this podcast.
Yeah, ready. Because you know what? This is episode number 4 of the first season. We don't know how many seasons there are going to be, and we don't know how many episodes there are going to be, but you are listening to episode 4. And you know what? The title of today's episode is Can You Run Though? You got to say it like that. You be like, Can you run though?
Okay.
With the shoulders, with the shoulders.
Okay.
But listen, we've been talking about dreams. All right. We've been talking about what do you see, how you move forward with those dreams in terms of putting in your part of the work. What else have we been talking about? Procrastinating and not letting that stand in your way.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's about preparing for the journey, because you and I both know, Seats, that it is a journey as we move towards dreaming. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yep.
So that's kind of what we talk about today. I have a question for you. Have you ever done like a 5K or any sort of like long distance running situation?
In junior high school, when I lived in Carson, California, I was on the track team and I ran cross country.
Oh shoot!
Yeah.
You know some endurance if you was doing cross country.
Cross country. But then when I signed up maybe 5 years ago for the LA marathon, I prepped for it and everything, and then I got an abrupt gig that I had to go do. And so I couldn't even do the marathon. I trained for it and everything. And I re-signed up for it the next time, and it never happened. But
okay.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, the reason I ask you that is because I did 5K. Oh shoot, I don't know. It was probably like 5 years ago now. When I did it, I do not like to run long distance at all. Like if you ask me to sprint, like I got some power in my legs, I'm gonna go for it, and I'm gonna go real fast for a short period of time. I got you. But if you want me to hang in there for a long period of time, like you talk about more than a block, I'll be like, oh shoot. So I did this 5K. I was determined to do it, but I had to prepare for it.
And and the approach had to change too, because when you think long distance, the key word is pace.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not to the difference in sprinting and long distance is, I have to give it all I have immediately.
Yes.
But in the other way, it's just like, let me pace myself for what I think I could do at a consistency and start with that, so I can end up being even better, but give myself some sort of leverage.
Yes. And I love that, because listen, the reason I brought that up, right, is because as we talk about having dreams, right, and moving forward with the things that are on our heart to do, the things that we see, they're not often immediate. Right? We always hear about the things like people think, oh shoot, that was an overnight success, and then you look at their story and it's like, no, they were grinding for like 25, 30 years. You just think they were an overnight success because you all of a sudden know about them.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted us to talk today, you and I, and discuss what that's like, what sort of things you and I have done to prepare to get us to where we are now, and what sort of things are we doing to keep pushing and moving forward, because neither of us is where we want to be. We have not arrived. We're going to keep moving towards those things that we see that are much bigger and greater and expansive than where we are right now. So we want to talk about that and what it takes to do that.
I would like to contribute. What I think that it takes to do that is giving time. I like to say it, but that means okay, breaking it down. Just really investing into the craft, but that is, it's not a, like we said, it's the key word is marathon. It's a long, every day that we wake up, we should want to aspire to do something better than we've already done. Mm-hmm. And that's half the battle. The mentality to want to keep pushing is because another day that he's blessed us to see is another opportunity to excel, and really just, and not even just being good competition with yourself, and wanting to upgrade and evolve and graduate, if you will. Let me ask you that same very question.
Yeah. And the question is.
That was tight. So the question is this: what does it take to prep for a journey? What are one of your solutions?
All right, I'm gonna start with this, right? Because first of all, I think it's really important to surround yourself or get with someone or some people who actually know what it takes. Because when you're starting out, especially if you're kind of like pioneering in an area that's new, even if it's just pioneering because you've never done it for yourself before, right? Mm-hmm. You don't know what it takes. Like when I started preparing for that 5K, I mean, I had to start with the little baby knowledge that I knew, right? Which wasn't much, but I had a friend at the time who was a runner who gave me some insights. But I started small. I was like, you know what? I'm going to challenge myself to keep my legs moving for the duration of one single song. And we know a single song can be anywhere from like 3 minutes to 5 minutes. That's a lot. But that was like my first like benchmarker, and so trying to get myself to keep moving without stopping for one song when I first started was like super hard. It was challenging. I was like, oh Lord, when is this song over? And then eventually I would just keep adding. I could do one song, then I could do 2 songs, and I could do 3 songs. And it was like, whoa, I'm out here, y'all. I'm running for like 20 minutes without stopping. And I think the same thing is, it's kind of like with artists, it's like the first thing you have to do is know that you need to be able to start small and like start with what you have, and also understand from the beginning that it's not necessarily going to be easy and that it will take time. Because I think as long as you know that it's not going to be immediate, right? And you can begin to mentally prepare yourself for this might take a minute, it might take a while. Yeah. You can prepare yourself to remind yourself that, I can do this.
The very definition of journey is the act of traveling from one place to another. Mm-hmm. So that's a process. That's a procedure. That's not immediate. Those terms are not associated. It's oil and water. So, and what should be comfortable is knowing that you don't have it figured out, chiseling. I like to think chiseling away at it. Yeah. What it is that you're aiming at, and then whatever you think that you got to some whatever level, make sure there's another one too after that. So thinking ahead is a nice mentality to have as well. It's that plan B, C, and D. Mm-hmm. And then it's also not putting all your eggs into one basket as well. So just being really mindful of that, of a journey.
Right. And there's also really like there's 2 parts to the journey, or 2 parts of the process almost. So it's like, I keep using this example of the 5K just because it's tangible, right? And you can like see it. But there's the first part of the process is me actually figuring out how I'm going to be able to withstand running, walking for like, I already knew the distance, right? I knew the distance. I knew it was going to be 5K. Mm-hmm. And so, but then there's the actual, okay, shoot, today is the day of the 5K. And now I'm like in it. So it's like the preparation is so important, to actually being able to finish and complete what it is that we set out to do. So it's like, I had wrote down a couple of things. It's like we got to find the right plan in
Mm-hmm.
terms of like the steps, the goals, the things that we want to do, because everybody's plans are going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the mental preparation,
Mm-hmm.
because that's like key, that mental piece, right? Having the right equipment,
Mm-hmm.
understanding that it's going to be hard, and then reminding yourself that you can do it. And then what are we doing along the way to fuel ourselves and to recover?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're training, both of those things are important. You have to keep fueling yourself and you have to keep recovering.
And training is not only physical, it's
Mm-hmm.
mental, and it's routine. Routines change with training, because it would not make sense to train if your eating habits don't change.
Right.
So what comes along with training is a bunch of different spaces and places that with any and everything, when we're training to do anything, we're going to have to pay attention to other things that probably would hinder us from contributing to the goal. Correct?
Correct.
And you said something very key earlier as well, as surrounding yourself with the same type of energy and the same goal. So it's easier to train with another runner because the subject matter is a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to train well with a bodybuilder when
right.
You don't prep. You got to prep with the like-minded individuals.
Yeah.
And that's key, whatever we're focusing on.
Uh-huh. Yo, I love the example that you just used right now. Let me tell you why. Because you compared basically two athletic people. You know what I mean? One might assume, oh, shoot, this person's athletic. You know, this is the right person. But it's like, no, there's some very specific nuances to weightlifting, bodybuilding that are very different than endurance and, like, you know, cross country running.
Here's what people might not know about you. She was a Pilates instructor. So when I would take your course, no matter how much I was training for those marathons, Melissa, or bodybuilding, or that there was a whole brand new experience and a realization, even with somebody focusing in on yoga. But that Pilates is just like, oh.
Yeah.
And it makes you have to start over again, even though the subject matter is under the umbrella of athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
It's still different chapters in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Even so, would you say that's true so take, for example, because we can speak to music, right?
Correct.
Would you say that that's true as it relates to different genres of music? Because you have actually been involved in several different genres of music. Would you say that it's been more beneficial for you in terms of, I guess, training and preparing yourself to surround yourself with certain people for the genre that you're in, or does it matter?
What the word that comes to mind is diversity. And the older we get and the more wise we want to become, we want to understand another opinion that might not be your own, another upbringing that might not be your own, another way of life that you might have no record, you haven't experienced it yet. It's very important to, we should just get older. When we get older, we need to become mindful of different things, and not be like so stagnant in one way that you don't change. So music, I love. If we went through my playlist, you would never be able to narrow down what it is that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so extreme. There's so many, and I'm still learning about different things and coming across, just different types of music. I'm like, I can hear I can hear the quality in any type of music.
Mm.
And so it opens your mind up to. That's what I love about traveling. Like I said, the definition of journey is traveling, and I've been afforded the opportunity to go to 79 countries in all of the United States. And so what that does for you mentally is it allows you to, it almost forces you to accept something else. You can't find your favorite food. You can't speak the language. One thing I have learned is a smile has worked everywhere.
Yeah.
Very subtle, very minute, not hard to do. and I end up with great experiences. But you know, it's just whatever you give off, that's what you're gonna receive. So I like that journey has taught me, and it's allowed me to see what I needed to do. Let me ask you this. When I asked you about a solution, and then I know it seems like you're trying to stay on the subject of that training. Even with your, you know what it is. You have to talk about spirit as well, because I really feel like, and I've watched you, whatever you put energy behind, you're successful at it. So elaborate. That's a form of training. You might not have went into Pilates being an expert, but it's a part of growth. So that's training. That's training.
I would have to say that the common denominator in terms of the things that I have, I guess, put my hand to have been ultimately love for God and love for people. And so I feel like that's something that you can't fake that. Right. That love you can't fake. So I feel like because I authentically love and care about the people that I'm coming into contact with, or the people that I'm trying to reach, it doesn't matter if it's Pilates, it doesn't matter if it's artistry, it doesn't matter what it is. I believe that has set me up to be successful, because I'm just connecting with people in a way that I want to love them, and I want them to be better, and I want to be better.
You're selling love. It doesn't matter what product you happen to be promoting during the time that you feel like doing it. The quality of leadership is that you're able to convince innocently, and people follow what they believe, and so people will gravitate to whatever you're doing because it's you doing it. You know, and that's training, and it takes you to. I love how I feel that way. I feel it's important to make sure you're not just the man or the woman over in this one little thing. Life is full of full of people, and different.
Yeah.
And understanding, because life owes us nothing really. But I think it's beautiful that every day that we get up, that we, especially as creative people, that we just really train and know that that's a part of the journey, is a training, but it should look different as we change. It should. It just should.
As we change and as we grow. I want to tap into something that you just said, because you did drop the spirit word. And I thought of a question for us as we were talking earlier, just to kind of stay on the topic of, can you run and helping people just really just stay in the game, you know what I mean, and not give up. And the question I have for both of us is, if we could think of 3 things that have kept us running, that have kept us moving in the direction of what it is we see for ourselves, right? What would those 3, and I'm sure there's more than 3 things, but just for the sake of right now, like, what are 3 things that we could say have kept us basically on the straight and narrow and like not giving up?
My two came to mind, and by the time I talked about these 2, the third one will have arrived. But the first one is passion. Passion will get you through rough times. And passion comes in, in many shapes and forms, but I believe somewhere deep inside of all of us, there's a passion somewhere about something. So passion is one.
Yes.
The next one would be gifts. And we all have gifts. And I don't like that we choose to focus on, in the world, calling certain things a gift, because everything is a gift. Everything is a gift. And so, and my third one has arrived, and I would say energy, Melissa. It takes energy to win marathons. Lazy people don't win marathons. Lazy people can't jump hurdles. Lazy peoples can't do the long jump. Lazy people can't get far. Lazy people can't run. And so this life is about, just that marathon. There's a pace, and we all have a different pace, but just make sure that there is a pace.
Right.
So that's my three. That's my three.
Passion,
energy, and gifts.
And gifts. Okay. All right. Somebody's gonna need that.
I'm gonna tether that back to you. What are your three?
The three things that have kept me, running and moving in the direction of my dreams. Okay, so obviously number one is, and I guess it ties into your first one, which is passion, but it would really be my passion towards God and the things of God, and just, the things of the Spirit. I mean, like, God is really truly my motivation. Like, man, I mean, yeah, that's it. I mean, that's number one right there. The second thing that would keep me running is, what's a word that I can use to articulate it? It's kind of like when you just, okay, so I can't think of a word, but I'm gonna give you a description. Mm-hmm. So like when I was little, right, and the award shows would come on, and all the performers would perform. They're not like how they were back in the day. Back in the day, it was like a thing. Like when you watched the award show, you knew you was getting some like straight up performances, and you was like big eyed, like, ooh, what they doing? Look at that. It's not like that no more. But when I would watch that stuff, it was like there was like an inner something in me that was just like jumping, like, oh my gosh, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. Right. So I guess it's the I can do that. I don't know other words, but it's the I can do that in me. That's like, nah, I got to keep running because I can do that. Why haven't I done it yet? I can do it.
That's confidence.
I'm gonna do it.
That's confidence, Liz.
Okay, confidence. Thank you. So, and then what would be a third thing? Shoot. My third thing that just keeps me going is just the people that I love that are in my space around me. Mm-hmm. I heard, have you heard of E.T., the hip hop preacher? He's super motivational. Mm-hmm. And there was something that I listened to, and he basically, did I tell this before? I might have, but I'm gonna say it again because this is kind of like why I keep on running. But it's like, if we don't show up and be who we are, there's people that will not be able to be who they're supposed to be because we're intended to affect them, right?
I like when you say that.
And so that would be my third. It's like, it's other people, you know what I mean? And I think specifically of people that I love, but that has to keep growing and expanding because we're really supposed to love everybody.
So your third word is consistency.
Consistency. Okay, thank you for articulating my words. Okay, you boom. That's why we tag teaming on here.
I'm her positive translator.
You the PT, the positive translator, PTE. All right, so those are my three. So,
and y'all don't ever forget that I will put God first. God is first and foremost. So just because I didn't say God first, that does not mean that I do not recognize that my existence is only because of He allows us to wake up another and be passionate about anything.
Yes, I mean, you embody that.
Yeah, I know that.
So, I mean, I guess I would say for people, for anybody that's listening, if they're trying to figure out how can they keep running, just to sit down, take a few minutes and jot down a list of like, these are kind of like our whys, if you think about it.
Our what?
They're kind of like our whys. They're like three things. They're kind of like our whys. Why we're motivated to keep going.
Why do you do what you do?
Yeah, why do we do what we do? So it's like, if anyone's listening and they've been having, they've been struggling to keep going, especially with everything that's going on in the world, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Try to sit down and write down like what matters to you, Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yeah, and I'm just recently getting into, and it's probably because I have plenty of time on my hands, a little more so than I have in the past, but writing down things and executing these missions that I've been saying that I've been working on, but I guess hasn't physically kicked in yet. But writing, even just books too. But that's important because I putting it in front of your face. I used to have a dream wall.
Mm-hmm.
And that just turned into, pages in your photo album.
Yeah.
Just putting whatever it is that you're aiming at, and it's not always monetary, and you know what I mean. But there would be different pictures that different focuses
Mm-hmm.
to chisel away at, and contribute to whatever it is that you wanted to zoom in on, or whether it was all. But just understanding that I didn't want. I pray for gradual growth as well. You know why, Melissa? Because it's like there's a scenario of when a lot of people, and probably more so than not, win the lottery abruptly, that don't understand how to keep, the money. That probably, and they lose it fast because it's not. You know what I mean? There's no studies there. There's no training there. There's no preparation there. It's just, you can't pretend to be wise.
I like that. That's true. You cannot pretend to be wise.
You cannot pretend to be in shape. Have you ever heard somebody say, "Hey, I've been working out," but it's like, you shouldn't have to tell people that. That should just feel like it's obvious. And so, I guess it's the proof is in the results that we're doing.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be in some way, shape, or form, or evidence of what you've been busy at, what you've invested the most time into.
Yeah.
Time tells on us,
Well, you know what? We kicked off January, and we were talking about dreams. There's a scripture that says, "Write the vision and make it plain." And I think it tells us to do that in terms of intentionally telling us to write something down, because there's a power in that. And then it goes on to say, and I might jack it up, but y'all, if you look it up, you need to be right. The concept is right, but write the vision and making it plain so that you can run with it. Basically, it's so you can do what you need to do. And so we started off the month talking about what do you see. Talked about a couple of things in the middle in terms of doing our part, not procrastinating. And now, today is the encouragement to, you have to run, you have to do something with whatever it is that you see, or, you have to do something with that, and you have to prepare to be able to do that effectively. So hopefully, this gave people some things to think about. We're just having conversations. We don't have all the answers, but we can give you some tidbits that will get you in the right way.
and somebody can relate. And we want your input. We want your engagement. We want your questions. We want to answer your questions.
Yes.
Let us know what they are. Send them to us so we can address them. And
I love that. That's a great point, because if anybody has something that they want us to have a conversation about, talk about, they can always send us a DM on our Instagram, which is number 4theARTISTS. They can always reach us through the website, creativeandprojects.org. So there's ways that you can connect with us. And I wanted to toss too, because next month, Seats, we're going to have some guest artists coming on with us that are going to, give us a little bit of more detail about their journeys, their different genres, we're gonna have who we gonna have on? We have an actor, an actress, possibly a visual artist, so that people can hear some real live examples besides the ones that we give them of some people that are in it. They're running their race. They're running, with their dream.
A few people popped in mind that I want to invite.
Oh, sweet. Okay, well, we'll talk offline to get that popping and confirmed. But shoot, all right, what do we want to leave with today? Besides my shoulder shrug, that's my thing. Ooh, 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 ooh.
What?
You got any final thoughts, words, reflections?
Are pray.
Mm-hmm.
Be grateful.
Yeah.
Give back.
Mm-hmm.
However you can, whenever you can, and stay motivated and surround yourself with people that are going to keep you motivated and give you the energy that you need, and be blessed. How
Be
about
blessed.
you? This goes last.
I'm gonna say this, y'all. I'm gonna say this. You can do it. Whatever it is that's on your heart to do, okay, there's a reason it's been put there, and you can do it. Listen, my mama ran that LA marathon at like 50. How many miles is that? Like 20 some crazy miles? I don't know. She tried to ask me, did I want to train for it? And I was like, hashtag no, because I had to help her pull her up the steps. She couldn't even walk after that. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But if she could do it at 50 and train for it, I mean, I could do it if I had the desire. We're not going to talk about that. But my point is, y'all, you can do it. You can run. So do not give up. Do not give in. Let's make it happen. Get with the right people. And hello, Creative M Project is a support system. So don't tell me that you don't have nobody. If you haven't gone to our website and asked to be in our artist network, which is VIP free, then you don't want it. You don't really want it.
Real quick uplift. I just interviewed a lady, not just interviewed, but I interviewed a lady that was 90 years old and taking piano lessons.
Yes.
90. So let that sit with you.
All right. I like it. All right. So until next Thursday, peace, love, and all that. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see y'all next Thursday, which is, what is next Thursday? The 3rd? No, I think it's the 4th, February 4th. Anyway, y'all, till then, peace.
Peace.